White House announced plans for a new student debt relief program that you personally worked on, right?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So there are over 40 million student loan borrowers in the United States today.
All right, all that sounds great, and I want everybody to be forgiven in their student loan debts, but a lot of people are not understanding a bigger issue here, and that's that no administration is going to be able to easily remove the student debt. And I'm going to name one company in particular you may think is a federal servicer, like that is federal and is not. And I'm going to explain to you why this is not going to happen, okay? So 43 million people is the total number of people who have student loan debt, okay? And there are varying degrees of where that's at, like you're repaying, you're not repaying, those kind of things, okay? Privately held loans account for 7.52% of student debt. Now, those are private companies outright, but that's a little obscured, okay? Let's talk about Nelnet, okay? If you have a Nelnet loan, then you may want to pay attention to this. And here's why you're not going to get forgiveness if you have something like Nelnet, okay? Now, I'm going to switch to a couple different tabs in here because I got some information pulled up, but Nelnet is not a federal company, if you didn't know that, okay? Nelnet is a privately held conglomerate. I'll read you what the Wikipedia article says, and you can find this information elsewhere as well, but it says, Nelnet Inc. is a United States-based conglomerate that primarily focused on financial services, including student and consumer loan origination and servicing. So they're a loan company. That's who they are. Additionally, the company operates an investing arm, an internet bank, and owns Alto Fiber, a cable internet provider. This is not a government organization. Nelnet may hold your loan, but it is not federal. It may be federally backed, meaning if you default, the government will pay Nelnet, but not you. And so it's important to understand that. And here is some other information, okay? This comes from seekingalpha.com. There's a couple of other investment sites that will also give you this information. This is from 2022. Nelnet is a Nebraska-based conglomerate that services $513.5 billion in loans for 15.8 million borrowers. So 15.8 million borrowers of that 43 million are not going to receive any form of debt relief. Okay, and here's why. Because they're getting interest rates off of those borrowers who are using Nelnet loans. Do you think they're going to let that money go? Do you think they're not going to lobby Congress to say, oh, you need to vote this down, which has happened numerous times? It's not going to happen. So if you have a Nelnet loan, you're stuck in that. It's not going anywhere. It's not. And I don't care what industry or not industry, what president tells you they're working on it. There's nothing they can do. It's just not going to happen. There's too much money wrapped into that. If they have let's say they're at the 8%, let's do 513.5. I'm going to take that billion times 8%. Do some math here. That's $41 billion per year they're collecting in interest. And it'll just accrue until they keep getting that money over and over and over. Also, this is Nelnet's listed as a company you should invest in. You should dump your money into them. They as of 2022, they were trading at $96.33 a share. And what's their dividend yield? 1%. They give 1% to their shareholders. But they're listed as a company that's going to have continued growth. I wonder why that is. I mean, if they don't have to cancel the debt, I wonder why that is. Now, looking back into Nelnet again, some other things, if you guys don't know, don't remember, or whatnot, in February of 2007, New York Attorney General Andrew Cuomo launched an investigation into alleged deceptive lending practices by student loan providers, including the College Board, EduCap, Nelnet, Citibank, and Sallie Mae. They were fined, but it was such a small, laughable amount, it doesn't matter. Nelnet, in particular, was seen as doing deceptive practices on interest rates and loan terms. They have multiple issues. Had multiple controversies, but it doesn't matter because they're raking in that cash. Like, if your fine is $2 million in a year, but you're getting billions of dollars in interest rates, does it even matter that you're being fined? Like, are you really going to stop the practice? So Nelnet is one example. There are other companies like Nelnet. Again, the College Board, EduCap, Citibank, Sallie Mae, more specifically the College Board and EduCap. These are companies that are kind of marketed as federal student loans, and they're not. Like, they are because they're backed by the federal government, but that's very deceptive, right? It makes it sound like your loan is backed by the federal government, and I guess it is. If Nelnet were to go out of business, the federal government would probably subsidize your loan to a degree that you wouldn't lose your college, but it's more so that those loans are subsidized by the government. It's a safety net for Nelnet. If you decide to go bankrupt and can't pay, they'll just end up collecting from the federal government. They don't care. If they can sap you for the money, they will, though. And that's the problem is no matter what, the taxpayer gets screwed on this. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're doing it for the interest rates they're getting, and they're doing it to get the money from you. If it wasn't the case, then we wouldn't see people that have more that they owe in interest than they do the actual student loan. Or there was the woman who posted a video a while back that showed she owed over $100,000 on like a $70,000 student loan. It really is getting out of hand. It's ridiculous. But don't expect any relief soon. Very few people are going to. Federally backed employees can because the government's paying out. The only way that this is getting taken care of is if the government decides and makes a mandate saying these companies, the interest rates are invalid and they're only getting this X amount of money back. Or they need to pass legislation that limits the amount of interest that can be accrued on these loans. That's it. But those are never going to happen. So for those of you who have that, stop putting hope into these stories about relief. It's not going to happen. Unless you have a government job that's going to forgive it or pay it off, you're not getting any relief. You were stuck with this. And I am very sorry about that, but that is the state we're in. Do you hold a loan through Nelnet? What has your experience been? Do you have another company that's similar? Maybe you'd like to share some information on what you're going through. I hope this helps and hope people understand, where the situation is with student loans.